It was only Connie and Jerry who were not seen in the trailer anywhere else other than scenes in the cave trap. But these pictures actually show one of the two of them during the battle at Hilltop, which means that they make it out alive because the battle at Hilltop takes place after this cave trap moment. It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. They just released a new pack of promotional photos for the second half of Season 10 of The Walking Dead, which we're going to take a look at here. There's tons of pictures. There's like 15 pictures, and there's actually a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of reveals. There's a lot of potential spoilers, which we're going to take a look at. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. First up, we have this shot of the survivors in the cave trap. We did look at this picture and the one that I'm going to show right after in a separate video previously, and it was posted by Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, but Walking Dead just went apeshit crazy and dropped like 15 new pictures, so I decided to include those two pictures in this video as well. So of course, in this shot we have Jerry, we have Magna, we have Kelly, Carol, Connie, and Aaron, and Daryl is there with them. He's just not in this picture. Now there is another picture that might reveal where Daryl is, like why he's not with the gang here, but we'll take a look at that in a little bit. Then we have this shot of Carol and Daryl. We looked at that before as well, and like I mentioned in my other video, this most likely connects to the scene in the trailer for the second half, the first one where Carol tells Daryl, "I didn't want any of this to happen." Then we have this picture, which is pretty much the same picture but from different angle, and Carol and Daryl are in different poses, but it's the same type of shot. And then we have this picture of Aaron. He is holding his water bottle, trying to see if he can get his hands on some water. They have probably been trapped there for a while. They're thirsty, they're hungry, so it makes sense. The supplies are running low. So it's going to be interesting to see not only how do they get out, but also how do they survive until they get out. So that's very interesting, and it's something that we've never really seen on The Walking Dead before, like seeing them survive in a small space with limited resources, you know what I mean? Now, speaking of how they get out of it and who potentially can help them, I'll do a separate video on that. I wanted to post that tonight, but with the release of these pictures, I decided to postpone that and do this video instead and release that other video later on, but we will definitely get to that at some point this week. Then we have this shot of Daryl on some sort of like a rock. The other survivors are in the background, and going back to what I said earlier, if you remember, there was this picture of all of the survivors minus Daryl. I think Daryl wasn't there because he's on the rock here. So that's why that picture didn't include Daryl. Not exactly sure what Daryl is doing. Maybe he was able to get himself on a rock close by, so he's trying to find a way out. That's going to be very interesting to see. Now, I don't know how he got there. It seems like there is a huge gap between the rock that the survivors were standing on and the rock Daryl is standing on. So did he jump? Not sure, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But one thing I do want to mention is I love Connie's reaction. She looks like she's impressed by Daryl's moves. I'm just saying. Then we have this shot of Connie herself. I've got a lot of hate recently talking about Connie and how I don't think she's a big character or big enough of a character for fans to go crazy over her if she dies. And, you know, I still stand by that, but it seems like maybe I'm in the minority. But this is a pretty cool shot of Connie. Now, going back to what I said on my other video, at this point, Connie and Jerry are at the top of my list of people who may die in the cave trap. But that changes based on these pictures, and I'll tell you why. But just going through every character. So of course we have Daryl, who we do see in parts of the trailer, so we know he makes it out of this cave trap alive. Carol, same sort of scenario. Aaron, same sort of thing. Kelly, same thing. Magna, same thing. It was only Connie and Jerry who were not seen in the trailer anywhere else other than scenes in the cave trap. But these pictures actually show one of the two of them during the battle at Hilltop, which means that they make it out alive because the battle at Hilltop takes place after this cave trap moment. So that's extremely interesting, and it could be like a big spoiler in a way. That's not the only potential spoilers that they have in these pictures. I'll get to that, but this is a pretty cool shot of Connie. Then we have this shot of Connie and Kelly, Aaron in the background. Again, these are all in the same cave trap, which is most likely just going to be in the mid-season premiere. Then we have this shot of Alexandria. This is, I think, at some sort of a council meeting. We have Scott there. We have Laura there. We have Father Gabriel and Rosita. And I think this is connected to the scene where we saw in the trailer where Gamma, or Mary, I think was her name, she shows up, tells them that their friends are trapped in the cave. And in other parts of the same trailer, the first one that they released for the second half, she is seen talking to the council. So I think that's most likely what this scene is about, which is pretty cool. And then we have this close-up shot of Rosita from the same scene. Then we have this picture of Judith. Now what's very, very interesting is that she's by herself. Why is she by herself? Why is no one around? You know, she never or rarely leaves to go outside the walls by herself. So that's extremely interesting. The other thing that's interesting, look at her outfit. She has a jacket, I would say close or similar to the jacket that Carl wears or used to wear. And of course, she has the hat. So she got this kind of Carl look going. So that's absolutely cool. And it's a great Easter egg. They're paying homage to the Carl character. And I absolutely love that. Then we have this shot of Yumiko with her horse on her side, and it seems like they're on the road. Now, if you remember, there was another picture that was released a couple months ago where it was Yumiko, King Ezekiel, Eugene, and I think someone else. And we talked about that a little bit when it came out. I can't quite find the picture now, so that's why I don't have it here. But I think this is from the same scene. And obviously, they are on the road. They're going somewhere. Now, for comic readers, we have a pretty good idea where they're going. And I think this story connects to the storyline that's going to come up after the Whisperers arc is over, which is pretty cool. But then, look at Yumiko. She looks surprised to see someone. I think this might be another potential spoilery picture that they have. I think Yumiko here is looking at either Maggie or a comic character named Princess. Now, she doesn't know Maggie, so it'll be kind of weird for her to be surprised to see Maggie. So I don't think it's Maggie. I think it's most likely Princess. Now, why would she be surprised to see Princess if she's never met her? Well, that's because comic Princess looks a little interesting. Let's just say that. So that's why I think she's just reacting to seeing Princess the way she's reacting. But again, this is speculation. She could be looking at something entirely different. But if I'm going to make a prediction, I'm predicting that she's seeing Princess here. Then we have this shot of Eugene Ezekiel and Yumiko. This is from the same scene. And again, it connects to the shot that we looked at a couple months ago. And I think they're still looking at Princess here. Look at Ezekiel. I think he's just kind of confused, kind of surprised to see this character or this person. And I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming with Princess. I've talked about this before, but if they adopt comic Princess the same exact way as she was in the comics, it won't work. Princess was pretty much a comic-y character, if that makes any sense. So I think they're going to have to remix her just a tiny bit to make her more realistic looking, you know what I mean? But going back to what I said, I think they're looking at and most likely talking to Princess here. So that's pretty cool. Then we have this shot of the survivors, Father Gabriel at the forefront, and they're pointing their weapons at someone. Father Gabriel is seen holding a shotgun, so that's interesting. We've never seen them use any type of weapon like this before, or at least after All Out War. So it's interesting that they still have bullets. I mean, yes, it makes sense because Eugene knows how to make bullets, but they've never used weapons before. But then again, this is the conflict that they have come across after All Out War with the Saviors. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But this is most likely them just in a skirmish with the Whisperers. It could even be near the hilltop. This could be during the hilltop battle. Then we have this shot, which is part of the hilltop battle. We have King Ezekiel looking badass, killing some walkers. We have other characters in the background. clearing walkers and killing them. But look at the top left. Who do you see? None other than Jerry. So going back to what I said earlier, Connie and Jerry were in my list of people who might die during the cave trap in the mid-season premiere. This changes. Jerry makes it out of that alive. He is in the battle at the hilltop. So that means that, I hate to say it, but Connie might be the one that will bite the dust. I mean, there's been rumors and speculation that she might get a fake out death. And if that happens, and if there's only one death or potential death, which turns out to be a fake out death, I will be furious. I'm just going to say that. But this pretty much spoils it for us, or reveals it to us, that Jerry makes it out alive. So that's extremely interesting. And then we have this close-up shot of King Ezekiel. This is the same picture, it's just a closer shot at Ezekiel. He looks super badass. Then we have this shot of Gamma, or Mary, not exactly sure who she's talking to or where she is. She could be near the Whisperers camp. She could be near Alexandria. We do know she goes back to Alexandria to tell them that their friends are trapped in the cave, so this could be part of that as well. Then we have this shot of Negan at the Whisperers camp. He is looking at someone, not sure who, maybe Alpha, maybe Beta. But what's interesting is, take a look at this. I think this is Gamma. I could be wrong, but I think that's the shirt that Gamma wears. But I could be wrong about that. But Negan is looking pretty interestingly at someone. Maybe Alpha, like I said. But obviously they're getting something to eat. This looks pretty disgusting, to be honest with you, but it's just the Whisperer's lifestyle. Now, I would be very interested to see whether they will bring a part of the Whisperer's comic arc to the TV show, which connects to Negan. And it's one of the triggers that pushes Negan to make a decision that he makes, that pushes the story forward in a very, very twisted and shocking way. Not going to get into that here, but I think they might be bringing that to the TV show version as well. We do know Lydia went back to the Whisperers camp, so maybe they're just reacting to seeing Lydia as well, so that could be it. And also, if it is in fact Lydia that shows up, then it's another clue that we will in fact get that story from the comics when it comes to the Whisperers, which I kind of mentioned a few minutes ago. Then we have this shot of Alpha and Beta. Not really too much to talk about here. It's just Alpha and Beta talking. Beta looks pretty intimidating here. And that's pretty much it. That's all of the pictures that they released. I want to know everyone's thoughts and opinions about all of these pictures in the comment section below. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.